Hello, and welcome to my first attempt at making a Unity tutorial of any kind. Today I'm going to try to teach you how to make a mute toggle. A few things that you'll need is one, you'll need an asset to use as your mute toggle, whether it's just a little icon floating above your head, something to cover your mouth, or something in your mouth. In my case, I'm using this fish, and it will go in the mouth. Something else that you absolutely need is the gesture manager, so that way we can test it later before actually putting it into Unity, into VRChat. Now, if I click over here, we can get started by placing it on the model. Because if I move it into place where I want it, right about there, and I click play, which allows you to do some testing to make sure that everything's in the correct place and that it's functioning as intended for the most part. You can see that it's there, but as soon as I click on the otter itself and I move it, it does not move. So we need to assign it to a parent in the hierarchy. For me, I'll click the down arrow, the drop down arrow, drop down armature, hips, spine, chest, neck, head, and then here you see jaw. I will scroll down, grab my mute fish, and drop it on the jawbone. Now you can put it on the head, it will work just fine, but when I click play this time, and then I click on the otter and move it, you can see that it moves with it. Now that I have you here, if you look over here in your inspector, you will see controller, none. So we will scroll down here to playable layers, FX, and we will click on Otter FX Clothed, or whatever yours is titled. When you click on it, it gives a little highlight. We're going to drag that up here. Now we have our controller on our FX layer. Now with our otter or avatar selected, we're going to click animation. And if you do not have your animation and animator tabs here, go ahead and click on window, animation, select animation and animator, and then you can set those wherever you want. Here, if you click the down arrow, you'll see create new clip down here at the bottom. If it's not there, there'll be a little arrow for you to click and scroll. You cannot use your mouse wheel, unfortunately. Once you see create new clip, click create new clip. It will ask you to name it. We're going to call this mute true and click save. Now what we're going to want to do is click on our fish. Up here in this top right corner, there's a little box. You can click it to hide the object that you have selected. We're going to go back over here. We're going to click record, select the fish, click the fish, and then hit the record button again. First animation done. Now we will click create new clip again. We will call this mute false. Save. Now we're going to unhide the fish. We're going to click record. We're going to hide the fish and then click record. The animation part is done. We will click over here on the animator tab. Go ahead and scroll all the way down. Click the plus button. Oh, no, this is parameters. Sorry. We want to be in layers. Scroll all the way down. Click the plus button. You can go ahead and start typing, but I'm going to call this mute self. And then we scroll down. You see it says mute self. I'm going to click the little cog icon. Scroll this all the way to the right to make the weight 1. Then we'll click the parameters. We're going to click the plus button, select bool, scroll down, double click to rename. This has to be titled mute self as such. And we'll click back over to layers, scroll down, select our mute self, right click, create state, empty. We're going to do that again. Create state, empty. We're going to call this one, the first one here, we're going to call that one mute true. And then here, we're going to call that mute false. Now, I do tend to get very confused and get these backwards, so we may have to reventure, but if I do, that's a great learning experience. So here for mute true, we're going to click this little bullseye. We're going to type in mute. We're going to select mute true by double clicking. Then we'll do the same over here, but mute false instead of mute true. Then we will right click on either of them, make a transition from one to the other, and we'll do that twice. Here, we're going to click on this downward arrow. We want to make sure that the exit times and stuff are zeroed and checked. Here it says list is empty. We'll click the plus button, click the gesture left, scroll all the way down to mute self, select mute self. We're going to leave that as true. Here we'll select this, repeat the process of zeroing this out, plus button, mute self, but we will change this to false. Now, if we did it correctly, we will go over here, click on the avatar. We will scroll down to where it says parameters. Double click that. We're going to click the plus button right here. It'll set it as a bool. This new one that we made, we're going to change that to mute self, the same as we did earlier. We want to ensure that right here it is saved and it is synchronized, but it is not on by default. Now, if we ensure that the mute fish is toggled off and we press play, it should still be toggled off. Then we'll scroll down in the hierarchy, select the gesture manager, and then we will click debug. Scroll all the way down. You'll see mute self. It says false. If we click it, there should be a fish. Now, once you have that done, I would suggest uploading it to VRChat and making sure that it's working properly in VR. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I will see you momentarily. Now, once you've loaded into VRChat and you have your model selected, my suggestion would be to drop a personal mirror and then mute yourself. And then boom, if it worked, amazing. If not, rewatch the video, and I'm sorry if you have to watch it more than once. Until next time, bye-bye!